So my guest today is Martin Doran. Martin boxes an amateur for Drimnagh Boxing Club and is now the youngest AIBA 2-star qualified coach in Ireland, which means you're qualified at the highest international level. Martin, you're currently the assistant head coach of St Catherine's Boxing Club in inner city Dublin. Yeah. You're very welcome to the Unitary podcast.
Thanks very much for having me on.
So Martin, do you want to tell us a little bit more about how you kind of came into the coaching world?
Yeah, so I was a boxer for 7 years, and then what happened I had retired in 2011, and I then got invited into a committee meeting in Drimnagh Boxing Club by the now CEO of the Irish Athletic Boxing Association, Fergal Carruth, and he just asked me to join the club as a coach because I'd come through the club. I had been a boxer in the club, and I knew the club, and they just seen me being in education to be a coach, and they wanted to bring me in as a coach. So that's where I started off. I was a coach there for 2 years, and then after 10 years of being in the club, I resigned. So that was a big step for me to make. It was a personal decision that I had to make to leave the club, and I didn't know where things would go for me at that stage, being a coach, because I only knew one club. I'd been there for 10 years. I knew every nook and cranny in the place.
Yeah.
And then what happened is I had met a man called Jimmy Halpin, who is arguably one of the best coaches in the country, if not the best. He produced Olympic bronze medalist Darren Sutherland, and he had also produced world silver medalist Kelly Harrington. So, and along with many other champions. So I joined Jimmy in Glasnevin Boxing Club, and under his tutelage, I became the youngest AIBA 2-star coach in the country. He showed me so much about boxing. Bearing in mind that when I first joined with Jimmy, he was 64 years of age. So he was still working his day job and coaching in the evening. He was an exceptional coach and an exceptional person with a great character. Although we were boxing associates, we were really good friends. And I love Jimmy to bits. He's been a great role model for me in boxing and a great mentor. And I'll always say, when I first joined Jimmy, I didn't really know a whole lot about coaching. I was still doing my degree, and I was still learning, and I'm still learning now. And I remember I just kind of watched the sessions, to see what they did and what the style of that boxing club was, and what they did, how they moved as boxers and how they punched. And I remember then, a year into the boxing club, we had a big mirror, and I was demonstrating to the lads. So I was taking the technical training, and I was showing them, and I was fainting and doing all this, and in the mirror I would just see Jimmy walking by with a sweeping brush, as if to say, "I'm no use here anymore, Martin. You just keep going," So it was really good. I had so many good times with that man, and he recommended me to the High Performance at that time to be a coach, and he brought me in there as a coach, So, but I can never forget the man who gave me a start down coach in Drimnagh, and that was Fran Long.
Yeah.
Fran was my mentor. He showed me how to start off with the kids, teaching them the very basic fundamentals, showing them straight punches only, and teaching them how to be safe and stuff like that. And Fran brought me around the country and allowed me to do corners at the time I was only starting off in the coaching. He gave me great opportunity, and I'm very grateful for that. And Fran is he's one of my best friends, if not my best friend. He's a great person as well. I absolutely idolise him. And so I was with Jimmy for 2 years, and then I got a new job, and I was I work in Palmerstown, a place called Stewart's Care. I work in the sports centre. I train people with intellectual disabilities. So getting to the boxing club, Glasnevin from Palmerstown to Glasnevin on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday evening at 5 o'clock. I was in the height of traffic. It was taking me over an hour to get there. It was really difficult. So I sat down with Jimmy and I said, "Look, Jimmy, I need an opportunity that's close to home." And he said, "Look, Martin, I fully support your decision, and I'm very grateful for the time that you've given to this club." And I said, "No, Jimmy, I'm very grateful to you because you've given me more. You've given me opportunity. You've never kept anything from me, and you've given me your mind." I said, "Jimmy, I'm only young and I'm in my infancy in coaching, but I can almost see through your eyes now in what to look for in a boxer." And I said, "Because of you, I can see what my boxer needs to do in a corner Whereas a couple of years ago, I because I was only starting out, I wouldn't have been able to see that. I would have been able to just give the general or generic instruction or double jab backhand, not actually looking at the opposition and saying, oh, hold on, this guy is open to a counter all the time. We need to capitalise on that, so we need to tell my boxer that when they come back to the corner. That's what I got from Jimmy, you know, and
so higher level.
Yeah, definitely higher level, and you know, I was considering opening up my own boxing club, and it just didn't work out. And then Fran had also moved on from Drimna Boxing Club and had taken a break from boxing, and he then became the head coach of St. Catherine's, and he invited me down, and I wasn't too sure about it, to be honest, you know. I wanted to start my own boxing club and make my champions there, but he offered me an opportunity to go down just to try it out to see what it was about, and I just went down and I said, you know what, this is really nice here. There was no problems in the club. It was run by good-natured people, and you know, I was happy because it was close to home as well.
Yeah.
So I've been there now for the last couple of months, and I work with Fran. He's the head coach. Then we have Luke Deegan, who's another coach. We have Leah Tate, who I once coached, and she would have bet a lot of Irish champions, but she just wasn't enjoying the boxing anymore, and she's now a coach with us. And then we would also have two people who set up the boxing club. That's Ronald Bourne and Lorraine Oglesby. So they have been instrumental in the Marrowbone Lane community over the last 20, 30 years, you know, and they together they formed that boxing club 10 years ago, and I can remember actually fighting on their opening show. Yeah, I did a bit of an exhibition with Philip Sutcliffe Senior. Now he's only taking it easy on me, but you know, I was still in there, and so it's great to be coaching there. It's a fantastic facility. It's state of the art, really. You know, we have a maple sprung floor, which is great for boxers. We have good quality punch bags. We have air conditioning in the gym, and we have a beautiful 16-foot ring up on a height. You know, so it's fantastic. So that's where I'm at now.
So we mentioned it earlier in terms of your qualifications. So in Ireland you would have to do your level 1 and your level 2.
Yeah.
And then internationally you do a 1-star and a 2-star. So do you want to tell us about how you went on and achieved your 1 and 2-star international qualifications?
Yeah, so I finished my degree in May 2017, and I finished it on a Friday, and on the Sunday I was flying out to Rotterdam. So I had worked on the Saturday from 3 in the afternoon till 1 a.m, and then I was on a flight the next morning at like 7 a.m. to Amsterdam. So I flew to Amsterdam and I got the train up to Utrecht, that's in Holland, in Rotterdam, and then I got a bus to Papendal, which is the Institute of Sport in Rotterdam, and I spent a week there.
Sorry, was this all at your own expense?
Yeah, it was all at my own expense. So like for the course, the accommodation, the flights, and the money to live was like 1,500 quid for the week.
Okay, wow.
So it's a big hit, but you know,
it's a big investment though.
It's a big investment, but the best investment you can ever make is in yourself.
Of course.
So I had no problem making that decision. I was there for a week, and you know, like when I went there, I was having breakfast in the hotel, and it was a lovely place. And I remember that there was this guy sitting over in the corner, and he was looking at me, and he come over to me and he goes, "Are you Martin Doran?" And I said, "Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am." And he goes, "Do you know Fran Long?" And I was like, "Oh my God!" You know, he was Israeli and he knew Fran Long. It just goes to show, like, Fran he's a character, but everybody knows him. So we ended up becoming good friends. We did the course together, and the guy running the course is a man called Bodo Andreas, and Bodo had been to 5 Olympic Games over a period of 20 years, and he had been the head coach of 3 national countries. So he was head of Germany, which is where he's originally from. He was head coach of Australia, which is where he now lives with his wife, and he was also once the head coach of Scotland. He had a master's degree in sports science as well, so a very knowledgeable man, very experienced, in his 60s. And he works for the AIBA as he goes and does the courses all over the world. So I spent a lot of time with him. We went for dinner every evening together. It was really nice, to just talk about life and to talk about boxing and what his aspirations were as a young man and what mine are now. And that was really nice. And we did all the work throughout the course. But the biggest thing I took from the course now was that he said to me, don't ever expect a boxer to do something in the ring that you haven't showed them how to do in training. And I was like, that is brilliant. It's so simple, but you would forget about it as a coach, and that was really lovely. And I had a fantastic time there. And he actually made me an offer at the end of the course. He you can't do your 2-star for 3 months after you do your 1-star. And he wanted to make a recommendation to the AIBA to allow me to do my 2-star in Australia 2 months later. And I said, look, Bodo, that's a compliment coming from someone like you.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm here out of my own pocket, and I can't pay $3,000 to go to Australia for a week to do this. He says to me, you will come and stay with me and my wife. And he says, you just get your flights, pay for the course. And he says, you live with me, I'll feed you for the week. And, you know, he didn't offer that to everybody else on the course. And we just struck up such a rapport that I really admired him. And I emailed him when I got my results from the 1-star. And I said, Bodo, I got the 1-star. And he said, you're a very young, proactive coach, you know, keep doing what you love, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck. And we keep in touch from time to time. So it's really nice. That was in the May, and then in the final day I was there. I had nothing to do, like, I finished the course. So I went down to Amsterdam and I stayed there for a night. I drank some nice coffee, I bought myself a nice pair of shoes, and back to Dublin then to boxing. So that was all done and dusted. And then I wanted to go again. I wanted to go and do the 2-star. So I found it was on over in Colorado Springs in the Olympic Training Centre, where my role model Billy Walsh is now the head coach. So I got the IABA to put me on the course, which they did, and then I booked my flights. I got my visa from the US Embassy, everything sorted. And then the high performance director Matthew Johnson, he's the HP director of American Boxing. He emailed me. He was a lovely guy and he apologised. He said, Martin, I'm so sorry, but the dates of the course have changed. And I had just started in a new job, so I didn't want to be asking them could I change my annual leave dates. But my manager, Daniel Fagan, was willing to do that. He was a very supportive man. And I said, oh, look, so I tried to change it and my flights couldn't be changed. They were non-refundable flights and non-amendable. Okay. So I lost out. So I just had to take the hit. So I lost out on €1,000. And it was a big hit for me financially, but also like personally, because I wanted to do that. I was ready to do it that month, you know. And but it didn't work out. And sometimes you have to realise in life that sometimes things just don't work out, and everything happens for a reason. So I let it go. Okay. But the opportunity came around again, and it was in Israel, and that was in January 2018, so this year. And so, you know, got onto the IABA. They booked me onto the course straight away, booked my flights, booked my accommodation, everything sorted. And so we went over to Israel, and I flew into Israel, and I got a phone call off the CEO, Yaakov was his name, and he rang me and said, Martin, your hotel has changed. And I says, okay Yaakov, no problem. So I'm waiting there with Owen Pluck, he's another high performance coach here in Ireland. We're standing there, he gets his bag off the conveyor belt, my bag doesn't come out. And I'm saying, oh shit. So at this stage, I had €800 in cash in my bag, I had my laptop, and basically all of the information that I had recorded on paper and laminated in a folder from Billy Walsh, Jimmy Halpin, Zara Antia was in that bag.
All your boxing.
My boxing knowledge was in that bag, like. So I was a broken man at this stage. I was physically and mentally drained because I had to fly from Dublin to Turkey, and then from Turkey to Israel, you know, and all this kind of stuff. So I was drained. So I went back to the hotel. We got there, it was really rough. I was like, oh God. So we got in anyways, and I was just lying there, and I was in my own room at this stage, and I rang my fiancée Sonia. I said, Sonia, you know, I'm sick of this. You know, I'm sick of me in the hardship of boxing. Like, you know, nothing seems to have worked in my favour. And she's like, you just need to suck this up and get on with it. So I woke up the next morning, same clothes, showered, same clothes back onto me, and I went about my day. I said, you know what, I'm going to smash this. So I went down to the course. Myself and Alan jumped onto this bus that the gearbox barely worked, and it was crazy. So it gets to the venue, the course is being ran in Russian, and we had our translators there with us. So I got through the first day, and I got a phone call from the airport. They said, your bag is ready, and we found it. I'm like, brilliant. So my biggest concern was that as long as I have clothes and I could get money, I had money transferred over to me that night, you know, so I was okay. And I then had I had to get out to the airport, right? The reason why I couldn't get my bag dropped in my hotel was because the hotel changed all within minutes. So I had to go out. The airport taxi was €150 now. And luckily this guy I met, Dave, that was on the 1-star in Amsterdam was on the 2-star in Israel.
Okay,
So
connection.
Yeah, so his friend Max brought me out to the airport. Went out, I pleaded with him to give me back because I had no ID. But I had this little Israeli passport. They give you a little piece of paper with your picture. I explained to them what's in the bag. They gave it to me. I opened up the bag. There was my laptop, my boxing knowledge, and my money. I was delighted. Back to the hotel. Max had spent like 4 hours travelling to the airport, waiting with me for like an hour and dropped me back and all that kind of stuff. So I gave him the money, you know, I gave him like €70, which is 280 shekels. And he was like, no, take it. And I was like, listen, I wouldn't have this if it wasn't for you. Please take it. And I said, when you come to Dublin, I will make sure you're looked after. So I went through the course and it was brilliant. You know, I had a great experience. And Unplug, I have to say, was a big support of me because when I lost the money, the first thing he was saying was, listen, I'll give you half of what I have. And that was nice. That support was there. And I really appreciate him for that. Like, you know, boxing knowledge aside, I really appreciate that.
He's gone up through the high performance system now at the moment as a coach, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he's also just finished his degree in strength and conditioning, and he's a technical and tactical coach with Irish boxing. He's been travelling the world, and just this week he's been over there with Anthony Joshua in Sheffield. So so Joe Ward was over there training and sparring, and almost there too. So you know, and I'd be delighted to see him grow. But we ended up getting a room together in this hotel for like the last 4 days, and Owen was in bed, right? And I was sitting there on the laptop, and he says to me,
same bed or different bed?
Oh, definitely a different bed, right? So I'm sitting there on the laptop, and he says to me, what is that you're watching? And I said, Owen, my friend, that is The Notebook. And he goes, are you serious? And I was like, yes, I'm a very feminine man, you know, and this is the type of film that I like. I love a good soft story. And he's like, oh my God, what am I with over here? I said, you are with a character, my friend. So we had a great time. We went every night for a stroll, and I'd be lying to you if we didn't say we had the odd beer, you know, and the beach was in front of us. So we went for a swim every evening, we went for a run every evening, we walked along the beach and we talked about boxing, we talked about tactics and, you know, faults in certain movements, and that was very enjoyable. You know, it was great to hear from him, who was in the high performance every day. And also he was interested in what I knew because I'd learned so much from Jimmy Halpin, and he really liked Jimmy.
Sharing.
Of course, yeah. So we got the course done, flew back to Dublin, and they lost me back again. Luckily this time there was no money in it, okay? There was no money in it, but I had my car keys, I had my phone, I had my fabulous leather bag that I carry with me everywhere, and I said to Owen, I don't care. The course is done, I'm in Dublin Airport, my car is in that terminal, I am out of here. I went to the desk, when you find it, drop it to my house. So I came home and we got notification about 2 weeks later that we passed the course. So it was great. So I emailed Bodo from the 1-star to let him know, and you know, it was really nice. And even the man teaching that course, he was a Polish man. His name was Adam. I can't tell you his last name. I can't pronounce it. But himself, Adam, and Bodo Andreas were the two people who designed the coach's manual that's set out by AIBA. So I'd recommend every coach reads that book. You know, it's really, really good. So yeah, so that's basically what led me to being the youngest 2-star coach in the country. A lot of difficulty along the way, but so worth it, like, you know, and it's a personal thing more than anything else, like, you know, and I'm happy to have it. I'm very grateful that I could do that, you know.
So Martin, in terms of, you mentioned a few coaches earlier that you've observed or worked with, Billy Walsh and Jimmy Halpin amongst many others. So can you tell us a little bit about what you've learned from certain coaches then?
Yeah, like, for example, when I first started out, when I was saying earlier, Fran Long gave me my start out coaching, and I'll always be grateful for that. Like, you know, I absolutely adore Fran. He showed me how to start young kids off, and showed them how to warm up, showed them how to train, showed them how to throw straight punches, develop the fundamentals in them. And he brought me around, and he introduced me to all the different coaches in the different clubs, and he showed me all the different boxers, and he showed me what we need to do to get our kids ready for competition. That was a great education. That was the start for me. Like, our time was short-lived together because I had moved on from Drimnagh and I was with Jimmy Halpin. But I was coaching at a show in the Greenwell Hotel, and I was doing a corner of a young lad, and Billy Walsh seen me doing the corner, and I went over and shook his hand because he's my role model. You know,
Billy Walsh is
he was at the show.
And he was the head of the high performance at the time?
Yeah, he was the head of Irish high performance. He was the high performance director. And he shook my hand, and he said, I've seen you coaching there earlier, fair play to you. said, you're a young lad, and I said, yeah. He says, you could be still boxing, and I said, no, Billy, I love to coach. He said, that's brilliant. I said, I love what you're doing, the high performance, like, you know. I said, someday I'd love to be the head coach of your country. He said, well, you come down to the high performance on, I want you to come down 2 days a week. And I think it was a Tuesday and a Thursday. And I remember it was from 2 until 4. And I was working at 4, so I had to leave there at 3:30. But for that hour and a half, I stayed there with him, and I basically wrote down everything that he had told me. And I was also listening to the instruction of Zoranti, and he was getting the lads to show different feints and stuff like that. So I was writing that all down, and I'll show that to you at some stage. So, but he also stepped out of training to talk to me and explain why they were doing something, and he gave me a detailed answer. And you know, when you're in love with something like boxing, you want detail, you want real in-depth view as to why they're doing something. And he was also a great man manager. You know, like there was a little bit of fear in boxers of Billy because he took no messing.
Okay.
And he was a great mentor, but he moved to America, like, you know, and that really hurt me because I looked up to him so much. So yeah, so he showed me an awful lot, but then I was very privileged to be with Jimmy Halpin, as you know. And you know, Jimmy is the best coach I've ever worked with. He's the best coach I've ever seen in terms of demonstration. And he can, if you say to him, Jimmy, why is that boxer doing that? I'll tell you why he's doing it. This is the reason why.
Okay.
And he's doing it because of this reason.
It's very important to explain it why, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, and he showed me how boxers should stand, and why they should stand that way, and how standing a particular way makes them multi-dimensional. So like they can same time punch from that position, they can step back, they can step forward, they can do whatever they want. And he would show you then certain boxers who stand a particular way and, you know, can be limited because of how they stand. And that's a problem when you get to international scene, because there's a lot of same time punch, and you have to be in a universal stance, like a lot of the time, which is toe to heel, you know. So he showed me an awful lot, and I was saying earlier on, like, you know, it got to a stage in the boxing club where I'd be doing all the technical tactical work, and Jimmy be walking behind me with the brush sweep on the floor, like, you know, just to make a joke, to say I'm not important anymore. But what I really admired about Jimmy was, you know, when you have a boxer in the final of an elite championships, you know, every coach wants to be in the corner. And what he said to me was, you're going to do this corner with me today. And I remember we had Emmett Brennan in the 2017 elite championships. He was the middleweight. And he boxed a young lad, I think David Joyce, in the first fight, and he dropped him with a left hook to the head, and because he was so well trained, he got up and he won the fight. And then in his next fight, he had beaten a lad who had beaten him in the previous years, and he bet him. So we get to the final now, and we're boxing last year's finalist, Stephen Broadhurst. So I'm in the corner with Jimmy, and Jimmy tells him, this is what this lad is not doing against you. This is what you need to do to him. Carry it out, as I call it. I went bang, 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 catching it every time, you know, and he won the elite title. I've seen that, like, I was there with Jimmy on the night, like, we trained Michael Avessian, Jordan Moore, Thomas Carty and Jeffrey Alexander.
And the under 21.
Three under 22 All-Ireland champions on the one night. And Jimmy brought me into the corner for all them, you know, and, you know, he had a very special way of giving me opportunity, and I'm very grateful for that, because Jimmy got me into the high performance. He recommended me, and I was in there, and I learned a lot from Jimmy Payne, who was the head coach of the under-18 national team, and Jimmy is another lovely man. He gave me great opportunity, and, you know, like, he had expectation from me. Like, if I was down the other end of the stadium, and I was down the warm-up, and I was calling out the warm-up, he'd shout down, Martin, I can't hear you. You know, that's what he expected from me. He wanted to bring out a leader in me. You know, if I'm not here, Martin, I need to know you can step up to the plate. And then I also had Jerry McDade there, who was an exceptional from Mulhuddard Boxing Club. He's a technical tactical coach. He also trained Darren Sutherland when Darren first came here to Dublin. Yeah, so it was really great to learn from them people, and to see how high performance works in Dublin. Unfortunately, I never got an international trip, but I'm sure my time will come in time, like, you know. But they would be the coaches that I would have learned immensely from. And Tony David too, as a professional coach, you know, I would have learned a lot from him.
Who's Tony David?
Tony,
For anyone that doesn't know.
For anybody who doesn't know Tony David, he is an icon in Irish boxing. He produced 18 elite Irish champions in his time. He had a world. His younger brother PJ, he's dead now. He boxed in the Olympic Games, and he also, as a professional, won an Irish title, but also boxed on the undercard of Muhammad Ali when he boxed here in the 60s. So he has been immersed in boxing. He also trained Steve Collins from when Steve was 9 years of age in Phoenix Boxing Club. So, he is a true icon, and I've helped Tony with professional boxing, and he's been just such a great person, and a great example of in terms of management and coaching, because he's done the business now. He's produced the champions all the way up, and I've learned a lot from him as well.
Martin, anyone that follows any of your social media platforms will see that you're quite an avid and obsessive reader.
Yeah. The librarian.
Yeah. So just wondering, could you maybe give us maybe 3 book recommendations that you think for coaches, and 3 book recommendations for boxers or athletes?
Yeah. I would recommend a book by Alistair McCaw for coaches, okay? But I would also say it's for athletes. I would also say it's for accountants. I would say it's for psychologists. I would say it's for anybody. It's called the 7 Keys of Successful Coaching, and it talks all about coaching, and it shows you what you should be doing with athletes, but it's also showing you about life. And then so that would be one book. He released a second book, which he was over in LA at the time, and I'm an avid fan of him. And he actually sent me a message saying, "I'm going to send you this book as a gift." So he sent me his new book, Champion Minded, and he wrote a message in it for me, and he sent it over, and that's all about how to live life on a daily basis, and that's fantastic. So I'd recommend that for coaches and athletes and people from other walks of life. The other book I would recommend people read from and believe in is How to Influence People and Win Friends by Dale Carnegie. He was a philosopher from America, and they've created a university in New York and named after him, Carnegie University.
That's in the 1920s or so.
Yeah, and it's all about how to communicate with people and how to understand them and deal with them. So that can be transferred into anything. If you're a director of something, or you're a CEO, or it's a great book to read. So that can be read by both coaches and athletes. A book that I would seriously recommend for coaches is a book by Bally and Way. They're 2 human physiologists from Canada, and it's a book on long-term athlete development, which is a book that in reality every coach should be reading. If you should be reading that from the very start of coaching, because it shows you how to develop athletes and how not to focus on results at the start, but the results come later. That's what that book is about. So again, that's Istvan, Bally and Way. They're 2 Canadian human physiologists from Canada, and you can buy the book for about 30-40 quid. So really well worth it,
Brilliant, excellent. So I'll try and make a note of them underneath in the title of the video.
Yeah.
So Martin, in terms of your experience in boxing, you're one of the few people who has experience in the amateur world and in the professional world. We're kind of seeing a massive influx of boxers into the professional world at the moment. 40 or 50 or even more in the last year. Just wondering if you could maybe give advice of let's say for example a young 20-year-old boxer who's not quite sure whether he or she should stay amateur or whether they should turn professional. What would you advise them?
My advice would be is to get your marketability first. If you're a senior and elite champion and you have that on your CV, that's great. People will know that you can fight.
Yeah.
But what you need to do is you need to get a world medal or an Olympic medal, because then if you have that, you get a signing on fee. If you don't have it, you won't. But I would also ask them to strongly consider what the concept of professional boxing is. Like, if they think that they're going to be boxing on television and fighting for hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars, I'd love to tell you that that's the reality, but it's not. For you starting out as a pro, you're going to need to sell an average of 100 tickets. That's roughly about €2,000. Do you have 100 people who will buy 100 tickets off you? And have to ask yourself and say, could I sell 100 tickets? The chances are you probably won't, or you might.
I've had a few boxers say for your debut, no problem, but then your third, fourth, fifth fight, you're asking those same people again. And
of course, because at the start you're boxing journeyman, and in reality, if you're selling €2,000 worth of tickets, that's your purse. But out of that purse, you're paying for your opponent, so that's €1,000. As well as that, you might have to pay for a medical, which is $250, so you're left with $750. Okay, and out of that $750, 25% goes to your manager, 10% goes to your trainer, and the rest goes to you. You might have been training for 6 months and you haven't had a fight. So is that really what you want to do? Unfortunately, professional boxing is a full-time job. You have to be at it day in, day out. You look at John O'Carroll, he's now the IBF European champion. He's going to be boxing for the world title at some stage. He has been training relentlessly, and he's dealt with anybody he boxed here in Ireland. You know, he lives the life of a pro, and that's something you have to do. You can't just leave it for 4 days and come back and do a bit and leave it for 4 days. You'll be beaten before you know it. And once you get beaten in professional boxing, everybody wants you because they know you're beatable. So, you know, you really need to consider that. Stay amateur for as long as you can. After 25 years of age, you know, if you haven't got a medal then, or, sorry, 26, because the average age of an Olympian is 25, 26.
Okay.
So if you haven't got to the Olympic Games for that stage, then you could consider it, like, you know, but just really bear it in mind because it is a hard game.
Okay, brilliant. Good advice. Your main advice is just to build their marketability.
Build your marketability, get as much experience as you can in amateur boxing, and then transfer it over if you feel that that's right for you. But, you know, really take the time to consider it, speak with your family, and make sure that if you do go pro, that you find a good manager, somebody who's going to get you the fights at the right time, and that's very important as well. And that's probably why Tony Davitt is the most successful in this country, because over the last 5 years, over the last 4 years, he's been running small hall shows consistently and getting his boys fights at the right time, and you know, just at the right time. That's very important in professional boxing.
Building them up.
Yeah, build them slowly but surely.
Okay, very good. Okay, excellent. So, Martin, I'd just like to find out a little bit more about your kind of overall coaching philosophy in all of the areas of athlete and personal development. Then, so. In terms of nutrition, kind of what advice would you give to boxers, or do you think a coach should advise boxers on nutrition, or is that outside of the remit?
I think coaches can always give general knowledge on nutrition, you know, as to what they should be doing, what they should be eating for breakfast and what they shouldn't be eating, as well as what they could be eating for lunch and eating for dinner, and also looking at the size of the meals. But in reality, I just designed a nutrition presentation there recently for St Mary's Boxing Club, because my brother-in-law works there. He coaches there, so you know, he just asked me, will he do this, and I was like, yeah. So I put some of my own knowledge into it, but I also I emailed Sharon Madigan from the Institute of Sport, and Sharon sent me on lots of information that really helped with the presentation. So, you know, it's scientifically based information, but it's also very simple, you know, on how to make weight and how not to make weight, and the negative effects of cutting weight too soon. So I have that there. But, you know, in terms of eating breakfast, I would always say, like, organic porridge is very nice. It's a good food. It's slow release carb, as you know, and you know, it's nice to know that you've had a good quality breakfast, as well as water. Like, you need to be staying well hydrated. If you are 2% dehydrated, you have a negative effect on performance. So you need to be staying hydrated throughout the day. But as well as that, what I would recommend for coaches of clubs, particularly dealing with, you know, elite boxers, is to buy an osmo checker. And an osmo checker is where you take a sample of the urine there and then on the spot, and you assess it in the osmo checker, and it gives you back a reading. It tells you how dehydrated the boxer is, which is very important to know, like, you know. And you can carry it with you anywhere. You can do your tests on the spot, and it's all disposable stuff. They're about £500 sterling to buy, but when you're dealing with an elite boxer, it's definitely something worth having. You know,
that could be the 1 or 2%. You know,
that could be the 1 or 2% that you need in a hard fight. So definitely recommend that. But yeah, you can just give general advice, and then like I said to you earlier, in relation to coaching, I want to learn from the best coaches in the country. You have to get the knowledge from the people who were up there. And that's what we did in this case, you know.
So you touched on it there in relation to nutrition, but I suppose a big area in combat sports and other sports such as horse racing, would be making weight.
Yeah.
It's often the bane of most boxers' lives.
Yeah.
What is your approach as a coach then? Do you favour big weight cuts or more gradual weight cuts? Or
Yeah, like I'm against big weight cuts, because what happens is when you strip the weight off you too much too soon, you have a negative effect on performance. But forget about the performance in the ring for a minute. What about the psychological effect?
okay.
So what I would say to a boxer is, you know, if you have 6 kilos to lose and you're not going to be competing for 4 months, 5 months, take it off you now slowly. Don't look to get a quarter of a stone off you today.
Yeah.
You know, take it down slowly. Take into consideration what you're eating on a daily basis. Write it down in a food diary. Give it to your coach. You know, and take it down slowly. Because if you take off 2 kilos a week before a competition, that's 2 or 3 kilos. It's detrimental. In reality, the week of competition you should be no more than a kilo or a kilo and a half overweight. Because in reality, in a training session the night before the weigh-in, you lose say a kilo, and hopefully in your sleep you lose half a kilo. So you wake up in the morning and you weigh in hopefully at 0.1 or 0.2 under the weight. That's the way to do it for me. But never strip it off the last minute. It's not worth it. And as well as that, as coaches we have a responsibility, and the number 1 priority of a coach is the welfare of the fighter. So, you know, if we're stripping 10 kilos off somebody within 2 weeks, that's unethical and that's not good. So, you know, I wouldn't do it. I would have no problem pulling the box up in competition if I felt that it was too much too soon. You know.
Right, yeah, I think that's the way we should all be really. In terms of making weight, have you ever worked with any boxers who were quite kind of good on it, or?
Yeah, I had the privilege of training Jordan Moore. Jordan is a very self-sufficient athlete. You know, he's very particular in everything that he does. You know, he has to turn up to the gym half an hour early to put his wraps on. He makes sure his wraps are meticulous because he doesn't want to get an injury. But Jordan would, coming up to competition, he would weigh out his field. He'd also be very knowledgeable on nutrition, and he would educate himself quite frequently on it. Jordan, for example, outside the competition, he would be 2 kilos overweight.
Okay.
You know, which is really good. So when the time comes around, he doesn't have a lot to lose, so it doesn't take too much from his body.
Yeah.
But on the morning of a weigh-in, Jordan would weigh in at 0.1 under the weight.
The best possible way to be, isn't it?
Yeah, and he doesn't have to kill himself in the week. So, you know, with training, a week out from competition, you have low volume in time but high intensity. So that's basically to get you to peak. So if you were doing high intensity but you have no energy from stripping the weight, it's detrimental. Whereas if you know you just have a bit of weight to lose, you'll be buzzing.
Yeah,
you know. So just take it off slowly, and that'll do the job.
And kind of in relation to the area of making weight and, you know, the dehydration and the health effects, you mentioned the welfare of the boxer. So I've kind of noticed that's a big important factor to you, is the actual overall welfare of the boxer, not just they're producing medals. Is that okay to say?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, my philosophy on life is I don't live to make a living, I live to make a difference. And I stole that from Denzel Washington, but I think it was fair to steal it from him because I identified with it so much, and it was so simple. And when a kid comes into our gym, you know, I teach them all about life through boxing. You know, when they're in the ring and they lose the rag, you know, they want to just start going mad. That's a lack of discipline. So I have the eye to identify that, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about that, and we'll improve on the discipline. As well as that, you know, I explain to the children the importance of understanding, being on time, being prepared for training, having your hands wrapped before training, not just before we're about to do the warm. If you're under pressure and you're delayed in doing your warm-up, you've increased the risk of injury. If you've increased the risk of injury, you can't do the training session. If you can't do the training session, you're losing out on your fitness. If you're losing out on your fitness, there's a possibility you won't be competing. So there is a domino effect, and all of my kids understand that. And they know that if they're not there on time, we're at a loss. So that skill transitions then into their life when they're getting ready for work. Having their wraps on before training is preparing them. So they're making lunch the night before for work the next day.
Taking steps to
prepare. Yeah, it's a process. And then they get up and they're on time for work when they're older. And they're the life skills that you get through boxing. And I am an avid, I am hugely, you know, I'm really bet down on that. And another book that I would recommend is A Lifetime of Observations by John Wooden.
Coach John Wooden.
Yeah, the most successful basketball coach ever. And you know, I remember he said in his book that he had the greatest player on the team that he'd ever worked with, and the player at that time walked in with a beard. Now, bearing in mind, back in John's time, you know, it was you wore suits to games and you wore suits to training, and it was very professional. And this athlete came in one day with a beard on, and he says to him, "Did you forget to shave this morning?" And he goes, "No, Coach Wooden, I didn't." And he goes, "Go in and shave it off." And he said, "No, I'm not. Coach, this is a style, I'm happy with this." And he goes, whatever his name was, he says, "Listen, the team is going to miss you. I wish you the best of luck," you know. And the athlete then went in and shaved it off. So, you know, it was just a discipline. But a question was asked of him in an interview, "John, you were very successful today, weren't you?" And he'd say, "I won't know for 25 years.
Okay. Does he have these players turn out as people?
As people." And he said, I'll know by the amount of weddings that I get invited to." And that was really good, like, you know, because it tells you, like, he was more interested in showing these kids about life through basketball and seeing how they went on to succeed. And I, myself, as a boxing coach, I want to give these kids the everyday life skills that, you know, is going to transition for them when they're older, you know, because they need to know right from wrong. And yes, they have their parents at home, but, you know, sometimes some kids might not have that, and I understand that as a coach. That's one of the biggest reasons I'm in boxing, to help younger kids. So yeah.
Have you heard John Wooden's story about teaching players how to put on their socks?
Yeah, so that's very similar to my story with the wraps.
Yeah, of course.
So he showed them how to put the socks on, because if you didn't, your foot would be sliding inside the shoe playing basketball, because it's an agile sport. And if your feet were slipping side to side, there's a possibility you get a blister. If you got a blister, you have to take it off and put somebody else on. You were out for a game. You might be the best player. So there's always a process, and
down to that one little detail.
One little detail. So that's always important, you know, and that's meticulous in your job, like, and that is another skill that transitions. And I got that from Tony Davitt. And in my job that I do now, if I'm doing administration, I might stay back 10 minutes or 15 minutes after work, because I need to walk away from work knowing I did that correct.
Okay.
That's the way I am, and I think that's a good thing, because it's led me to great opportunities within the job that I do on a daily basis.
Brilliant.
You know.
Martin, I don't think I can thank you enough for all that you're sharing. You're very, very generous with your time, your knowledge, and you give a lot. In terms of if anyone wanted to get in contact with you or just follow your journey in the coaching world, how might they kind of get in touch or follow that?
They can find me on LinkedIn, so, you know, all of my information there, the work that I do on a daily basis, some of the charity events that I ran, and my boxing knowledge is all there. You know, and if there is any coaches out there that want to do the 1 or the 2 star, I have the PowerPoint slides from the course, so they can message me, and my email address is on my LinkedIn, so they can email me and I can send them over the slides. That's no problem.
They will just Google LinkedIn
Martin Doran, and then they can also follow me on Instagram. Which
are you on Instagram?
I am Instagram. I love Instagram. About 75 posts a day on philosophy or something like that, you know. But no, they can follow me on Instagram. You can send me a message or whatever. I'll respond, no problem at all.
Brilliant. And again, Martin, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.
No problem. No, thanks for having me in.
Thank you.